Hey guys, welcome back to ArxangelRC. Today I am not going to review anything new, but would rather show you how to install hinges on plain models that come without such, which is almost all of them at this point, with the exception of Volantex or X-Hobby or whatever it's called nowadays. After I spent a few years talking to them about putting some proper hinges on the Ranger X plane, last year they finally listened to me, and now the Ranger comes with all control surfaces properly hinged, and as far as I've been told, so will most future models they released. But if your plane did not come from Volantex, chances are you are in need of some proper hinges, and especially on the larger planes over 1 or 1.5 kilograms. I always install hinges on those because I never could bring myself to trust taped over foam hinges. In this particular case, I will show you how I install the hinges on my MyFly Dream Nimbus plane, but the process is pretty much the same for most foam planes. Now, there are different kinds of hinges, but over the years I found the CA hinges, link is in the description below, to work best for my needs and for foam planes. If you don't want to wait for those to arrive, you can use old X-rayed photos. Just make sure to lightly sand the surface before installing them to make sure the glue will have a strong hold. So, first thing I do is to mark where the hinges will be on the control surface before I cut the surface off, because that way the marker stays on both pieces and it's easier to know exactly where to cut the slit for the hinge. Make sure you mark both sides, the control surface and the stabilizer or wing. Then I usually cut off the surface, or in this case it was fun to see how easy it will snap off, and it actually wasn't that hard at all, which only reinforces my conviction that I should install those hinges on all models I built regardless of size and weight. Moving on, get a hobby knife and put a new blade on it. It is important for it to be as sharp as possible, and then make a slit in the foam right in the middle of where the foam hinge was, angling the knife so it will slice the control surface in the middle. The idea is to have more or less the same amount of foam on both sides of the hinge. I then pull the knife a bit to both sides to widen the slit just a bit to make it easier to put the glue in. I have installed a very thin tip on the CA bottle, which is perfect for this job. I just insert the tip in the slit and squeeze as hard as I can for a few seconds until I can see the glue starting to build up. I then insert the hinge immediately, making sure to slide it in halfway. Of course, I have those cut to size beforehand because the CA glue likes to set really quickly when it's spread thin, so don't wait too long before inserting the hinge. And now do the same for the rest of the hinges on this control surface. Now that this part is done, it is time to do almost the same thing on the other part and put the two together, but since the hinges are now inserted into the control surface, it would be pretty much impossible to insert them one by one into the other part. This needs to be done all at once, and here is how that works. First, cut and widen a bit the slits on the other part, just like you did on the control surface, and then test fit the two parts, making sure they align properly, and also making sure they can quickly and easily fit together after you put in the glue in the new slits. Then put quickly the glue in the slits, all of them, and try putting it on the inside of the slit but closer to the opening, so when you insert the hinges they will spread the glue and thin it, which will cause it to set instantly, and the job is done. So with the glue in there, first align the two parts by inserting the hinges only a little until you have all of them lined up properly, and then with one strong push insert all of them at once all the way in and quickly align both parts. Just a few seconds later you will no longer be able to pull the two pieces apart if you are using CA glue. You can use some other kind of slower setting glue so you can make adjustments and not hurry this process so much, but I am used to the CA now and it gets the job done well. Now your stabilizer or wing has proper hinges, and that control surface will definitely not be going anywhere. And just as an example of why it is a good idea to install proper hinges on your planes, this is what happens to a 3.5 kilogram plane when you're using only the foam hinges and the elevator decides to pack up its bags and leave mid-flight, and the autopilot doesn't know how to deal with the loss. Okay, now you know how to install hinges, and most importantly, why you need to do it. I hope this video has been helpful. If that's the case, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I wish you pleasant hinge installing now, and until next time.